functions in C language. What is a function? Why we get the need of a function in programming language means if your program is small, if your code is small, then it is easy to understand and use. But the code is large. If the code is large, then it is hard to use it and hard to understand it also. Here we get the need of a function. We get the need of a function. Function is a set of statements that can take inputs and gives outputs. Okay, function is a set of statements that can take inputs and gives outputs. Here a program is a collection of functions. We can say that program is a collection of functions. ప్రోగ్రామ్ అనేది ఒక కలెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఫంక్షన్స్ అని చెప్పచ్చు. ఎప్పుడైతే ప్రోగ్రామ్ పెద్దగా ఉంటుందో when your program is very large, okay, the statements in that program we can divide it into some blocks. Those blocks are called as functions. We can divide a large program into a small blocks and those blocks are called as functions. Those blocks are called as functions, which make the program to understand easily and to use easily. This is why we use functions in C programming. Special feature of functions is we can use a function multiple times wherever we need in a program. Let me explain the special feature of a function with an example. మన మొబైల్లో మెసేజెస్ యాప్ ఉంటుంది, వాట్సాప్ యాప్ ఉంటుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మెసేజెస్ యాప్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తే అది ఇలా ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది, ఇలా డిస్ప్లే అవుతుంది. ఇక్కడ మనకు ప్రీవియస్ మెసేజెస్ ఉంటాయి. అట్ ద బాటమ్ ఆఫ్ ద మెసేజెస్ విల్ గెట్ ఏ ఎంప్టీ బ్లాంక్ బాక్స్. వెన్ యూ టచ్ దిస్ బ్లాంక్ బాక్స్ ద కీబోర్డ్ విల్ ఓపెన్స్, రైట్. ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ఇది ఇక్కడ మెసేజ్ టైప్ చేయాలని ఇక్కడ టచ్ చేస్తామో అప్పుడు కీబోర్డ్ ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది మన మొబైల్లో. సేమ్ యాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వాట్సాప్లో కూడా మనం ప్రీవియస్ మెసేజెస్ ఉంటాయి. ఇక్కడ అంతా మనం ఎవరికైనా మెసేజ్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఎంప్టీ బాక్స్ బాటంలో ఎంప్టీ బాక్స్ని టచ్ చేసిన వెంటనే, అంటే సేమ్ ఇక్కడైతే ఏ ఫంక్షన్ అయితే ఉందో ఇక్కడ మనం టచ్ చేసిన వెంటనే కీబోర్డ్ ఓపెన్ అవుతుంది. ఈ ఫంక్షనే వాట్సాప్ కూడా కాల్ చేస్తుంది అనమాట. వాట్సాప్ విల్ కాల్ ద ఫంక్షన్ విచ్ ఈజ్ యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ మెసేజెస్ యాప్. మీన్స్ that function, what is that function? Whenever we touch it, here it needs to display a keyboard, as same as this function is called by WhatsApp also. Whenever we touch here, it displays the keyboard. This is the way how we use functions in multiple times. Functions are classified into two types. They are library functions, user defined functions. Library functions are the functions which are declared in C header files. User defined functions are created by the C programmer. User defined functions are created by C programmer so that he or she can use them wherever they need. These are the functions. When we declare a function, it shows that number of parameter used in the function, data types of the parameters, it shows the data types of the parameters, and return type of function. It shows the number of parameters, data types of parameters, and return types of function when you declare a function in C program. Next, these parameters are two types: actual parameters and formal parameters. Actual parameters, these are the parameters passed to the function. These parameters are passed to the functions. And formal parameters are received by the functions. This is the major difference between actual parameters and formal parameters. Received by function parameters or formal parameters, and parameters passed to the function or actual parameters. We can pass we can pass data into functions. We can pass data into functions using two ways. One is call by value, and another one is call by reference. By using these two methods, we can pass a data into the functions. When we use call by value to pass data into the function, first of all, it copies the value into the function. Next, it also changes the limits to the function only. Means here, if you change anything in the function, it is limited to the function only. The changes will be limited to the function only. అంటే ఏమైనా ఫంక్షన్లో చేంజెస్ చేస్తే అవి ఫంక్షన్ వరకే లిమిట్ అయి ఉంటాయి ఆ చేంజెస్. నెక్స్ట్ వన్, ఫార్మల్ పారామీటర్స్ ఆర్ టు బి చేంజ్డ్ ఇన్ కాల్ బై వాల్యూ. ఇన్ కాల్ బై వాల్యూ, formal parameters are changed but not actual parameters. Here, when you change formal parameters, there is no effect on the actual parameters in call by value function. Next, here in call by value, parameters are created at different memory locations. We have two parameters. One is actual parameters and another one is formal parameters. These two parameters are created at different memory locations. If we pass data into the function using call by reference, then it passes the address of the value into the function. It passes the address of the value into the function. And also, if you change things inside the function, then it affects outside also. When we made any changes inside the function, it affects outside the function also. అంటే ఫంక్షన్ ఇన్సైడ్లో ఏమైనా చేంజెస్ చేస్తే అది ఫంక్షన్ బయట కూడా దాని ఎఫెక్ట్ చూపిస్తుంది. నెక్స్ట్, ఇఫ్ we change formal parameters, then it affects the actual parameters also. In call by reference, when you are passing data into the function, then if you change formal parameters, they also changes the actual parameters. Next, both parameters in call by reference are created at same memory location. In call by reference. Both parameter means formal parameters and actual parameters created at same memory location in call by reference. If the original value is modified or changed, then the data into the function is passed using call by reference. Or otherwise, if the original value is not modified, means there is no change in the original value, then data into the function is passed using call by value. Advantages of functions. Functions avoid rewriting same code again and again. If you need a function in a program, you can call it easily. Means it facilitates us to call it whenever we need it. Lengthy program can become easy to use and easy to understand when it is divided into functions. ఎప్పుడైతే ఒక లెంతీ ప్రోగ్రామ్ని మనం ఫంక్షన్స్ లాగా డివైడ్ చేస్తామో అప్పుడు దాన్ని ఈజీగా యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు, ఈజీగా అండర్స్టాండ్ కూడా చేసుకోవచ్చు. రికర్షన్ ఇన్ సి. రికర్షన్ మీన్స్ ఎ ఫంక్షన్ కాల్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ రిపీటెడ్లీ so many number of times to complete a simple task. If a function call itself so many times, then it is called as recursion, and the function is called as recursive function. And a programmer should be careful that when he is using recursive function, he should declare exit condition. Why? Because if we not declare an exit condition, then the function executes continuously and it becomes as an infinite loop. So that's why to terminate the recursive function after some time, we need to declare before exit condition. Next, recursive function is useful to solve factors of numbers, Fibonacci series, etc. Structures and unions. These are the user-defined data types used to store different kinds of data. If you want to store different kinds of data, then you can use structures or unions. The data items which we store in the structures are either in unions or maybe arrays or including other structures and unions. Now, how can we declare these structures and unions means we use a struct keyword to declare structure and the struct name will be enclosed in square brackets. And this is how we declare union. I use a union keyword and the union name within square brackets. This is how we need to declare structures and unions. Both these structures and unions can support assignment operator and size of operators. They support assignment operator, this one equal to assignment operator and size of operator. Next, both structures and unions can pass by value to functions and also returned by value by functions. They are passed by value to functions and they are returned by value by functions. We use this operator for accessing members from the structure or unions. Even though structures and unions have similarities between them, they too have some major differences. Among them, the first one is keyword. If you want to declare a structure in a program, you need to use struct keyword. Whether if you want to use a union, then you need to declare union keyword. Next, size of a structure. Structure size will be greater than or equal to the sum of sizes of its members. We need to do sum of sizes of its members, that will be the lesser than the structure size, means structure size will be more. But in case of union, union size will be equal to the size of largest member in the unions. Union will have some members. Among them, which is the largest member, that size is equal to the union size. When we change any value of a member in the structure, it cannot affect the other members in the structure. But if you change the value of member in a union, it can affect the other values also. Next, accessing. Individual member accessed at a time in the structure, but in case of union, only one member can be accessed at a time. If you want to store similar type of data items, then we need to use arrays. Arrays are the data structures that can store similar type of data items. But in case of structures and unions, they can store different kinds of data items. But whereas arrays can store similar type of data items. It is a derived data type and can store primitive data types such as int, float, char and double, etc. It is a derived data type. Arrays are the derived data types and can store primitive data types like int, float, char, double. It also stores pointers, structures. These are derived data types, but these also stored by the arrays. Each element can be accessed by using its index number. In arrays, we have collection of elements, and in that each and every element is accessed by using its index number. Each element which is stored in array has same data type and also has same size. All elements in an array are having same data type and same size. Advantages of arrays. Less code is required to access data. By using for loop, we can retrieve elements of array easily. We can retrieve by using for loop. Sorting. To sort an array, we need small code. We just need a small code to sort an array. But the first element of an array is stored at smallest memory location. They are stored at smallest memory location, first element. And elements of an array accessed randomly. Dynamic memory allocation is used when we want to change the array size during runtime. At the runtime, when you need to change the array size, we use dynamic memory allocation. It has 4 types of methods to make changes in array size. We have 4 types of dynamic memory allocation methods. Malloc method allocates single large block with specified size at runtime. Calloc method allocates specified number of blocks of memory of specified type. Specified number of blocks of specified type at runtime. Free method deallocates the memory allocated by previously malloc and calloc methods. This is used to reduce wastage of memory at runtime. Free method deallocates the memory at runtime to reduce wastage of memory. At last, realloc method. This changes the allocation of memory which is previously allocated. The memory which is previously allocated can change it by realloc method. These are the 4 dynamic memory allocation methods. Java is a object-oriented programming language. In the name itself, it uses objects in programming. The main aim of this programming language is it can create a bonding between the data and functions in a program. It can create a bonding. అది డేటాకి ఫంక్షన్స్కి మధ్య బాండ్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది. So that the data can be accessed by this function only. అంటే ఈ ఫంక్షన్ మాత్రమే ఈ డేటాని యాక్సెస్ చేసుకోగలదు. రెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద పార్ట్ ఇన్ ద ప్రోగ్రామ్ కెనాట్ యాక్సెస్ దిస్ డేటా. మిగతా ప్రోగ్రాంలో ఉండేది ఏ పార్ట్ కూడా ఈ డేటాని యాక్సెస్ చేసుకోలేదు. దిస్ ఈస్ ద మెయిన్ ఎయిమ్ ఆఫ్ OOPS. Next, the main ideas behind the Java object-oriented programming language is OOPS concept. The main idea behind Java is OOPS concept. We have 6 OOPS concepts. They are class, object, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance. These are the 6 OOPS concepts and they are the ideas behind Java programming language. These OOPS concepts help us as a key to know how Java programming language will work, and also they let us to create methods and variables. And allow us to use them whenever we need. అంటే జావా ఎలా వర్క్ చేస్తుందో తెలుసుకోవడానికి, అలాగే మెథడ్స్ వేరియబుల్స్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకొని కావలసినప్పుడు యూజ్ చేసుకోవడానికి యూజ్ అయ్యేవే ఈ 6 OOPS కాన్సెప్ట్స్. In OOPS concepts, first one is class. Class is used to create objects. Class is used to create objects, and also it is used to define object data types. It is used to define object data types and methods. They are used to define object data types and methods. అంటే ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ని క్రియేట్ చేయడానికి ఆబ్జెక్ట్ డేటా టైప్ని లేదా మెథడ్ని డిఫైన్ చేయడానికి యూజ్ చేసే కాన్సెప్టే క్లాస్. We can declare class using 4 parts. One is modifiers, another class name, keywords, and class body. Class body should be enclosed within flower brackets or curly brackets. These are the main parts we used while declaring a class. As I said earlier, programming language which uses objects is called object-oriented programming language. Java is a object-oriented programming language, and the object is combination of data and function. It is a combination of data and function. Function means working procedure available on the data. Okay, this combination is a object. Object has a state and a behavior. State of the object stored in variables, అంటే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ స్టేట్ వచ్చేసి వేరియబుల్స్లో స్టోర్ అవుతుంది, and the object behavior is shown by the method, means functions, and the behavior of the object is shown by the methods. Object declaration is a 3-step procedure. First step, declaration of the object. Here object will get a name. Second step, instantiation of the object. At this step, memory space is allocated. Memory space is allocated to the object at second step. Third step, assigning a proper initial value to the object. Proper initial value assigned to the object at the third step. These are the 3 steps which involved in object declaration. Next, properties of objects. Interaction. First property, we can interact with objects through methods. Through methods we can interact with objects, and objects can be reusable. We can reuse them, and also we can remove or replace an object when it disturbs the program operation. అంటే ప్రోగ్రామ్ రన్నింగ్ని ఏదైనా ఒక ఆబ్జెక్ట్ డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తుందంటే దాన్ని రిమూవ్ చేయొచ్చు లేదా రీప్లేస్ చేయొచ్చు. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఇన్ జావా, హౌ we declare and the properties of objects. Next OOPS concept is abstraction. Abstraction shows only the required characteristics of an object by ignoring irrelevant matters. Means it ignores the irrelevant matters and it displays only the required characteristics in the object. And it also differentiate objects of similar type. Means we can differentiate similar objects by using abstraction concept, and also we can classify objects using abstraction. Another OOPS concept is encapsulation. It is also called as data hiding. Encapsulation is a process of wrapping up data and functions as a single unit. It wraps up data and functions as a single unit. And encapsulation is achieved when we declare all variables in class as private. When we declare variables in class as private, then we achieve encapsulation, and also by providing setter and getter methods to modify and to view variable values. To modify and to view variable values, we provide setter and getter methods This process is called encapsulation. And encapsulation in OOPS concept also called as protective shield. Why? Because it can prevent data to be accessed by the outside code. Polymorphism is a concept in OOPS in which single action is done in different ways. Then it is called as polymorphism. We have two types of polymorphism. One is compile time polymorphism and another one is runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism is also called as static polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism also called as static polymorphism, and it is achieved by method overloading and operator overloading. Compile time polymorphism, we can achieve it by method overloading or operator overloading. First of all, method overloading. We will know method overloading. Second type of polymorphism is runtime polymorphism. It is also called as dynamic method dispatch. This runtime polymorphism is achieved by method overriding. It means if a derived class has definition of function of base class, if a derived class has definition of function of base class, then this base class is called as method overriding. In this way, we can achieve runtime polymorphism using method overriding. Next concept, inheritance. On the basis of classes, we have four types of inheritances: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance. Before going to know about these inheritances, we need to know what is a base class, what is a subclass. Base class is also called as superclass, which features are inherited by the other class. And now the subclass are also called as derived class. This inherits the features of base class. అంటే ఇది బేస్ క్లాస్ లేదా పేరెంట్ క్లాస్ యొక్క ఫ్యూచర్స్ని ఇన్హెరిట్ చేసుకుంటుంది, అంటే తీసుకుంటుంది. సో దట్స్ వై ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ సబ్ క్లాస్ ఆర్ డిరైవ్డ్ క్లాస్. ఇది తన ఫ్యూచర్స్ని ఇస్తుంది. సో దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ పేరెంట్ క్లాస్. ఇన్ సింగిల్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ a class extends to only one class, whereas in multiple inheritance the subclasses or derived classes will inherit the features of more than one base classes. అంటే మల్టిపుల్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్లో ఒక సబ్ క్లాస్ ఒకటి లేదా ఎక్కువ బేస్ క్లాసెస్ నుంచి ఫ్యూచర్స్ని ఇన్హెరిట్ చేసుకుంటుంది. ఇన్ మల్టీ లెవెల్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ పేరెంట్ క్లాస్ యొక్క ఫ్యూచర్స్ని ఫస్ట్ సబ్ క్లాస్ డిరైవ్ చేసుకుంటుంది, అంటే ఇన్హెరిట్ చేసుకుంటుంది. అండ్ తర్వాత ఈ ఫస్ట్ క్లాస్ యొక్క ఫ్యూచర్స్ని మళ్ళీ సెకండ్ క్లాస్ ఇన్హెరిట్ చేసుకుంటుంది. సో మరి ఈ ఫస్ట్ క్లాస్ ఏమైపోతుంది, పేరెంట్ క్లాస్ అయిపోతుంది. దిస్ ఈజ్ కాల్డ్ మల్టీ లెవెల్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్. నెక్స్ట్, హైరార్కికల్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్. ఇన్ దిస్ ఏ బేస్ క్లాస్ inherits its features to one or more subclasses, then it is called as hierarchical inheritance. This is all about inheritance in Java. Constructors and destructors in Java. Constructors are called when object is created and they are used to allocate memory for the object. These constructors are called when we create an object and also they use to allocate memory for the object. Constructors are of two types: no argument constructor, parameterized constructor. No argument constructor is also called as default constructor. Constructor can accept arguments or not. They can accept arguments sometimes and sometimes not. We must have multiple constructors in a class. We can have multiple constructors in a class. We need to follow some rules while defining a constructor. The constructor name should be as same as the class name. We must have no explicit return type in the constructor. And the Java constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, synchronized. Destructors. These destructors help us to deallocate memory, and they are called when the object is erased. When an object is erased, then destructors are called. In a class, there is always a single destructor without parameters. In a class, there will always a single destructor without parameters. When a class is inherited by the another, both are having destructors. The destructor of subclass is called first and then followed by the parent class. Special keyword in Java is this. It acts as a reference variable that refers current objects. It acts as a reference variable that refers current objects. It is used to avoid naming conflicts in method or constructor of your objects. It is also used to refer current class instance variable. To refer current class instant variable, we use this. And to initiate current class constructor also we use this. And it also used to pass as an argument in method call. To pass as an argument in method call we use this. And to pass as an argument in constructor call also we use this. And it also used as a reference variable. This is all about the special keyword in Java.